we're going to talk about teaching your dog and you the foundation, the basic foundation of the dog coming when called. New trainers need to kind of wrap their mind around the progression of training an off-leash recall. And we're not going to do off-leash recalls in the basic dog obedience because it's too far down the road. Let me explain where I'm coming from in this. When I was in high school, I had a German Shepherd named Prince. We lived in Canada, we lived next to the woods. So every morning before I would go to school, get on the bus, I'd walk Prince out in the woods. I had him trained to do hand signals. He would come every time I called him. I put him in a long sit and a long down, he would come. One morning, I went for a walk, and on the way back, I had to go near a park. And when we got near the park, Prince jumped a cat, and the cat took off and ran across the park. No matter how hard I called, he totally ignored me because he was on that cat. He ran in front of a car and he was killed. That taught me that a dog is not trained to come when he's called off leash all the time until you can call him back from the highest distraction that you can think of. For Prince, it was a cat. Other dogs, it can be a rabbit. Other dogs, it could be a small child because they love little kids so much. Other dogs, it could be a family member. They just blow you off. So in the basic dog obedience, you're not going to get a complete off-leash recall. That's beyond the scope of the training that we can do in the time we have in basic dog obedience. But I'm going to teach you the foundation of how to put it together. When we go into our intermediate class, we're going to build on that foundation. But I'm going to be very honest with you, the only way that you are going to get 100% recall is using a remote collar. But to use a remote collar, and I'll tell people this, a remote collar is one of the greatest training tools there's ever been developed. It's one of the most abused training tools that's ever been developed. If you learn how to use a remote collar correctly, how to introduce it, how to layer it into your training, it's great. But it's also something that if you just take a remote collar and put it on your dog and tell your dog to come and shock the snot out of him, it's a bad deal. So let me get you the foundation of your recall. And once you have that, move into the intermediate, and we'll talk about how to add more and more and more distractions. And then